Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to installment of Scott Selections here for Sunday, November 20th. For again today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We got a couple plays to go through, so I'll go through them in order. Starting off with the YouTube play from yesterday, gave out a play in hockey, had the Devils to win in regulation against the Senators at plus 110 on DraftKings. Never in doubt, Devils ended up leading by multiple goals after each period, won the game comfortably, never in doubt there. Then for the college football show, did pretty well there, went 2-1, had Wake Forest minus 9.5 at minus 114 on FanDuel. They won by 10, had UMass plus 33.5 at minus 106 on Bet Online as they ended up covering against Texas A&M. And then for only loss, we had Utah minus 2 at minus 110 on Bet Online. We gambled on the injury news, thought Bo Nix might not play. He did. He was definitely compromised in terms of just overall lack of mobility, but it didn't matter. Rising for Utah was especially awful in the pocket, threw a bunch of interceptions, and Utah had a bunch of chances to potentially take the lead and cover, but instead ended up having to squander them, and Utah eventually lost by 3. So overall, 2-1 for plus 0.82 units in college football, and overall went 3-1 for plus 1.92 units. So overall, can't complain. Very nice day. Look for the winning day here on Sunday. And for today's play, they're going to pivot back to tennis. Look at a matchup in the ATP Finals, and is the championship match between Novak Djokovic and Casper Ruud, taking place at around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And for this matchup, I know we ended up taking a play earlier in this tournament, and we took Djokovic to win in straight sets. And for this match, we're going to take basically the exact same thing, just worded a bit differently for a better price. We're going to take Casper Ruud to not win a set at minus 126 on FanDuel. Time recording of 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Couple reasons why I like the straight sets victory for Djokovic here. First reason, shopping around the same bets available at minus 145 on BetMGM. So you're saving 19 cents, no questions asked. But to go through the recent form of both players, Djokovic has been the best player in the world, and it's really not even close. Since the French Open loss to Nadal, Djokovic is 26-2 straight up in his matches. And a big reason why Djokovic has been playing really well lately has been the first serve percentage, which has been amazing. Djokovic has won at least 77% of his first serve points in each of his last 11 matches. And Ruud has been serving well in this tournament. However, historically speaking, he's a pretty mediocre to slightly above average server, which is a problem because Djokovic is definitely a top 2 returner of all time, probably top 1. But I do think he'll end up having a lot of very, I'd say, good opportunities against Ruud in several service games. And I think eventually Ruud's going to blink. But if you look at the opponents Ruud has faced in this event, he has not faced many great returners. He faced off against Felix, serves well. Felix is a pretty decent returner. Faced off against Fritz, not a good returner at all. Faced off against Nadal, very good returner, but of course he is coming back off injury and he looked a bit rusty either against Tommy Paul or against Fritz or Felix in the last couple matches he was in, and then beat Rublev, who is a pretty mediocre returner as well. So Nadal is the only returner who, at least at his peak, is an elite returner, and he broke Ruud several times. And I do think Djokovic can definitely make it, I'd say, stressful for Ruud in several service games. I'm not sure Ruud's going to do the same to Djokovic. Djokovic has been serving extremely well in this tournament, and I do think you'll end up seeing him apply, I'd say, some pressure at times, but I do think Djokovic should be able to hold serve almost every time in this matchup and really put the pressure on. And Djokovic is so accustomed to being in these high-pressure matchups that I do think he'll end up faring a lot better under the bright lights. But Djokovic has been constantly in this tournament, and he's made the final a lot. Djokovic has won this tournament 5 times already. He's aiming for his 6th title, and this is his 8th appearance in the final. Ruud, on the other hand, has 0. So I definitely think that the stage is going to be a lot brighter. I know Ruud did make the final of the U.S. Open. Didn't go his way. He made the final of the French Open. Didn't go his way. He's had a couple of really big matches in the past, and he's come up a bit short. Now facing off against Djokovic on his favorite surface, I do think he'll end up struggling. He might have one competitive set, but I don't exactly expect much more than that. Djokovic has also won the head-to-head pretty convincingly. He's 3-0 in the 3 meetings, and each of those victories came in straight sets. And Ruud, despite making the U.S. Open final and the French Open final this year, I do think it's pretty obvious his best surface is on clay, since he ended up winning a bunch of clay titles compared to hardcore titles in his career. And I bring it up because Djokovic did beat him twice on a Ruud's favorite surface. They played last year on hard court in the only meeting on hard court between them in the same exact tournament, and Djokovic won 7-6, 6-2. So even though Ruud has had a great run, he was one of the bigger long shots to make it to the final, I do think Djokovic is the best player in the world. He's the best player in this field by far. And I do think you'll end up seeing Ruud have some moments to maybe put the pressure on. But I think Djokovic is going to shut the door. I think he'll get up in a break in probably both sets and end up coasting to a nice win here. Maybe he'll get a breaker, but Djokovic is really good in tie breaks, as we saw against Medvedev in the third set, and as we saw against Tsitsipas, for example. So I do think Ruud might play pretty well, but he's going to need to play extremely well to beat Djokovic, and I don't exactly see that coming. So play that once again here for Sunday, November 20th, is going to be on Djokovic to win in straight sets, or in other words, Ruud to not win a set at minus 126 on FanDuel. Bye, everyone.